Hello, Earthlings. Welcome to RGN, the Regular Guy News, the least pretentious name in news. I am your host. I am your anchor, Dan Black. And, I don't know. Hello, welcome to RGN. We are back in these tumultuous times, which you would think post-election would be calming down, but if, in my humble opinion, IMHO have been getting spicier by the minute, and not just like spicier, like hot, like not like just the heat going up. You know what I mean? You're not eating like, a spicier pepper. I'm saying like there's like some smokiness in there. There's some, you know what I mean? There's a little, is there paprika in this? Like things are getting weird. Things are getting interesting. The palate. You get this, right? The metaphoric palette of this universe is becoming very odd. Anyway, that's the kind of... You'll never hear that on CNN. Don Lemon wishes. He wishes that he can make that kind of metaphor. And before we get into everything here, just remember this podcast is grassroots. We love doing it. And give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts if you enjoy listening. We have a nice core base of people listening to this pod now. And we have some really fun plans for our 2021 run. And support it by giving us 5 stars and telling a friend about the show. Spread the word about the show. Honestly, this podcast, and we'll get into it today, but I think we might be frontline workers now. On the front lines of mis and disinformation, because I read an article today that was, and by the way, read it. I mean, let's be honest about reading, okay? Because there's a lot, and this is part of being on the front lines of mis and disinformation, is I didn't read the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, most people on the internet are not reading the whole thing, which we'll get into today. But anyway, we're here just not admitting we know anything, just looking for information, we're literally like swimming for truth. I mean, maybe we'll turn this podcast to the Swimming for Truth podcast. I don't know. Many would say that might be a good title. Anyway, before we move on with all of our topics of the day, and it's going to be a nice day, let's go out into the field, introduce our only RGN correspondent. She's out using the extensive RGN budget. She is out in the field. Let's see where she is. Erin, do I have you via satellite? Erin.
Dan?
Erin.
Dan.
I hear you.
Hello, Dan.
Erin, let the people know, where are you out in the world today? Thanks for being back on the show. Erin, where are you?
Dan, thank you for having me today. Today I'm coming to you live from Napa Valley, California.
Wow.
Yes, I'm in front of this restaurant you can see behind me here. This is French Laundry.
Wow, you're at
Yes.
French Laundry, a Thomas
Yes.
Keller joint. Yes.
Yes, I actually have a reservation here this evening, but
is it open?
I'm killing time out here in front. Yeah, just a gathering.
That's well, by the way, we're in California. We're both in California. You're in
Yep.
Northern California.
Yeah,
I see
no
you
Cal.
didn't wear your jacket, which I thought was an odd choice, frankly. But
It's December. What do you want?
yeah. But Erin, French Laundry, I mean, I believe this all restaurants are closed for indoor dining and even outdoor dining right now. So how do you have a reservation there? Are there no rules at the French Laundry?
I guess it depends on who you know, Dan.
Oh, so who do you know?
I can't.
Do you
talk
know the
about
governor?
that. I can't talk about that at this time, but
Okay.
but I'm just killing time out here.
You. All right, Erin. Well, wow. I mean, it's good to have you out of the apartment. Sounded like for a couple months there you were just staying in your apartment.
Yeah,
which,
it's weird.
frankly,
It's like I was quarantined.
You were using the pandemic, and many people, a lot of the listeners were saying that might be an excuse. Now,
Agree
by
to
the way,
disagree.
before we move on to they're cruel listeners. You know what I mean?
I know. Believe
Erin,
you me.
Believe you me, a little Howard. But listen, here's the deal. Before we move on with the pod, I just want to let everybody know, any podcast that claims to be not pretentious needs to hear from the listeners. They need to be kept in check. And checks and balances are not, they seem to be fluctuating in their efficacy in the in DC. But here, we hear from you at the Regular Guy News. regularguynews@gmail.com. Hit us up on the mailbag if you have anything you want to say. I think Erin, are we going to get to the mailbag next week?
Yeah, we're going to get to it next week.
Okay, so hit us up there. Anything we say on this ep, we took a little break from the mailbag, but as we get into the new landscape post-election, we need to hear from you. We have to hear from you. Okay. Erin, I hear you have a special report from up there. I think we're gonna hold off on that. I'm gonna start off with my reporting first, and then we'll round it out with your Napa Valley report. Okay.
Okay. Beautiful.
Okay. Just took a little sip of the oat milk, a little oat milk latte.
OML.
Gorgeous.
The official beverage of the Regular Guy News.
Absolutely, is the oat milk latte. Now I'm gonna have. Erin, so here's the deal.
Yes.
I'm gonna give people a little look behind the curtain of this podcast, okay?
Okay.
Now, this podcast is a topical podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have that much control on what we're going to record. So we kind of wait. We're news junkies, like we always say. If you're new to the podcast, we watch a lot of news. Many would say too much news. I've been watching a little less news, still a lot more news than most, because the commercials are really freaking me out, especially as we get into the Christmas season, I realize. And Christmas commercials are really making me sad this year. And I'm Jewish, so I don't even celebrate Christmas, but there's still just like, there's this one commercial where the woman, this girl sings like, "I'll be home for Christmas," and you're just like, this is fucking depressing.
We're all home for Christmas.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, you'll be home. You're all home for Christmas, and if you meant you're going somewhere, you're kind of an asshole, and if you're not, and if you're not, then that's just sad. So there's really no win there.
Mm-hmm.
Erin, as a matter of fact, I'm going to tell you a quick story.
Okay.
Okay, about Christmas, about staying home for Christmas.
Alrighty.
Okay, so me and my wife are going to be, well, my wife is half Jewish. Her dad is of a different persuasion. And by that I mean he's not Jewish. I don't know. I guess he's Christian. I don't know. No one's religious around me because that would be a hard, I don't know. I don't think it would work out, you know?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's tough, it's tough to be a comedian and be religious even to begin with. You know what I mean?
A religious comedian.
Right.
Don't you think being Jewish, though, and being a comedian is cool? Like, you can slide through?
Well, being a comedian and the culture of the Jews is comedy is very respected in the Jewish community. So people are like, oh, it's funny Jews do all this comedy. There's all these theories. And they're, there's a lot of ways to look at that. I think that in today's day, because you could say, oh, post-Holocaust, probably, the only way to get through it was humor and blah, blah, blah. But a lot of people have gone through atrocities and come out very unfunny after.
Yeah, true.
And the Jews really came out swinging, But
yeah.
It's really interesting because Jews, I think it's one of the adjustments of like, as a comedian and as a Jewish person who literally, like, all of my friends' grandparents are Holocaust survivors. And I knew them. It's not like the Holocaust is some distant memory. It was like people who lived in my friends' houses growing up were in concentration camps and sat at the tables with us, right? Had tattoos on their arms. You know what I mean? So it's not like this. It's not a fiction. My grandfather, like I said, went overseas, fought in Germany. I own an Nazi armband that he brought back that's literally has a serial number on it from a soldier. So this stuff is very real, even for someone at my age, But, like, jokes about the Holocaust, jokes about Jews have always been fair game in Jewish culture. There's no such thing as being offended. Every Jew loved Borat. It's riddled with anti-Semitism. Now, Sacha Baron Cohen is Jewish, right?
Yeah.
And actually a religious Jew. But I notice that I speak to more people as we live in more sensitive times who are offended by people regardless of who, what, where it is, And I think, like a movie like Life is Beautiful by Roberto Benigni, who's not Jewish, but has chosen to make a Holocaust film a comedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was completely okay with. Everyone I know loved it. You know what I
Jumping
mean?
across the seats at the Oscars.
Yes.
He's cute. We all loved him.
Uh, so what I'm saying is that I think that that's part of. I don't connect with people being offended by people taking comedic attempts at touchy subjects. You know,
Sure.
but I'm the double threat when it comes to that. Like, I'm a comedian and a Jew.
Right.
So anyway, being home for Christmas. Yeah, I took another tangent, but this whole thing of we were talking about being home for Christmas. You know, so anyway, okay, so we're stuck in our really interesting thing is like me and my wife live in like a duplex kind of situation in LA, right?
Oh, you do?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Okay, Erin, yeah,
It's 1 mile from where I was stationed before, but I don't know.
I've never invited you over. You're not
I
allowed
never
over
left.
because
No.
of the time you tried to. But we'll talk about that off
Another
air.
time.
Okay, so we live in this like duplex situation, right? But we were traveling a lot in 2019, so we've lived there for a while, and we also travel a lot. Like, my wife was on a TV show in New York. We were gone for 2 summers in a row, so it's not a permanent. It's kind of just like we live here. We don't particularly love it, but it's like this is just where we are, and moving pre-pandemic would just be effort we were not putting in. Okay?
Right.
Okay. So that being said, pandemic hit, all of a sudden we're stuck in this apartment.
Yeah. Right.
Right? And we're like working from home. And now we're here, and like moving's kind of difficult. And you're like, if you're like, well, should we look at other places? And in LA also, there's like a housing crisis. There's not that many apartments and houses available, even, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a whole thing. Plus, you're like risking your life anytime you leave your house or whatever, you know?
Mhm.
And you have to like make appointments. It's a whole thing. So we're like, we'll just stay here for the holidays. We'll figure out our housing situation later, you know? But we're here. But so we have this gas fireplace that we've never turned on, okay?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
again, we've never really like moved in here, you know?
Right.
So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm going to get this thing on, so I'll turn it on Christmas. So it's like, we'll create some cheer here. And not only that, I was going to get a tree in my living room, even though I'm Jewish,
cool.
because I'm like, we've been in this room for 10 months. Why not throw a tree in there? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, let me tell you, we
Yeah.
went a little bit of an extra mile in decorating our apartment in LA this year because we were like, hey, we're stuck in here.
Right.
Why not spruce the place up, add some holiday cheer? So we
Right.
had a tree, a wreath, the whole 9.
Okay. So, all right. So I called this chimney guy up who I got recommended to turn on the chimney. First, I like
Okay.
messaged my landlord. She's like, she makes it a whole thing. You're responsible for the chimney if you turn it on, and like a whole thing. And I'm like, all right, fine. You know, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to argue with you the fact that like you can't yell at me for using an amenity of a place. You know what I
Right.
mean? But that's just like her style. She likes to always be like, make me an enemy for doing anything. It's very wild behavior, you know?
Yeah, that
Okay?
is
But that's
wild.
besides the point.
Mhm.
And anytime she yells at me, I'm just like, you know, I don't like this place. I'll move.
I don't have to live
Yeah,
here.
yeah. And then she's always, it's very funny. Anyway, okay. So I call up this chimney guy. Call him up. His voicemail's like, hey, it's like, hey, I don't respond to voicemails. Do not leave me a voicemail. If you leave me a voicemail, I will not respond. Text me. I only respond to text. Okay.
Very direct.
Well, I'm like, all right, fine. All right, chimney guy. Okay. So I text the guy the whole scenario. I'm here. I would like to get this fireplace on for Christmas. I would just like it inspected so I know it's safe to turn on. Plus, I don't know. It's gas, so I don't know. There's no like firewood in it. Do I need like a fake firewood setup? I'm texting
Yeah.
this. He goes, I'm booked this week. That's the text. No period. I'm booked this week. Okay.
Okay.
I go, okay. Do you have any availability next week?
Right.
No response. No
That's
response.
it?
Just I mean,
What?
talk about no response. Then I'm like, the next week, I'm like, kind of like not, you know, I'm not like really pursuing this thing. I just tell him, I go, hey, do you have any availability this week? Okay? Doesn't respond. Then I text him the next day. Hello?
You did
Right?
go hello.
Yeah,
Are you there?
And then he goes, he links me to a gas fireplace guy. And he's like, I don't do gas. This guy does. So this whole time, he didn't even do the thing I needed. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, so I call this guy up. The number doesn't go through. I realize this guy stored the number in his phone without an area code. All right? Which is like, like
what year
so
is
boomer.
it?
That's so
Yeah.
boomer.
Yeah, okay, boomer. Like, yeah. Like back when you didn't have to dial the area code, you just called
So
up
then
your neighbor.
I look at his area code. It must be the same if that number's going through for him.
Oh wow, detective work.
Okay, so I call the guy up. I'm not all right. The guy. So I call this guy up. Finally, I got the gas fireplace guy on the phone. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, he picks up and he goes, "Hey," and then I go, "Hey, is this Tom, the fireplace guy?"
Oh my
Okay.
god. Uh-huh.
What do you say if they don't give you an intro? I don't know your title. You know what I
like
mean?
you
You're
say
not
like
Sir
hey,
Elton John or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So I go, hey, and then he goes, yeah. And I go, oh, okay. Well, I have this fireplace and I'd like to turn it on. I give him the whole rundown. I can't tell if he's listening. I'm like, I haven't turned it on in a while. I'd like to get it done before Christmas. And he goes, he's like, I can't do it before. It has to be the new year. I'm too busy with installations to do this before Christmas. And then I just go, this is what I said. I go, okay, eat my ass. I'll talk to you later.
You did not. That's
I
crazy.
did.
No, you've had it up to here with fireplace guys.
But Erin, I wasn't upset or mad or anything. I just thought it was so. It
You
was
wanted
such
to give them a proper send off.
The whole thing was so ridiculous with this fireplace that I just like threw a little like, all right, eat my ass. See you later. Like,
Talk to you.
I just was like,
Oh my
is that
god.
insane? Am I insane?
You've snapped.
I mean, it
You've
wasn't
gone into like
aggressive.
Michael Douglas falling down, like insanity.
And so the fireplace doesn't work.
And you're not going to get it fixed. You're not going to try any harder. You're not going to go on Yelp and find a guy.
No, I already found a guy in Yelp. I just didn't call him because I just like, I'm like, you know, I had to.
You're going to get blacklisted
Erin,
in the fireplace.
I mean, this is
community.
barely a news pod this week, but I promise you, I do have spicy stuff. I was also dealing with getting my wife's car fixed, which was also just
Oh, yeah.
another huge like pain in the ass. My wife broke a taillight on her car, and I had to get
Oh,
the taillight
Jesus.
replaced. Just the plastic, the light works, okay?
Yeah.
Backed up into a garbage can.
Oh, brother.
How much do you think this taillight cost? Take a guess.
I know what kind of car your
Yeah.
wife drives.
Yeah.
Maybe like $300.
Okay. $690.
Really?
Erin,
$690?
this taillight was $690.
$690?
$690. Okay?
That's insane.
They call me with that estimate after I drop the car off, right?
Now I see why people use the saran wrap.
Yeah, I was about to throw some duct tape on it.
Yeah,
You know?
forget about it.
Okay, so then you know what? Eventually I just go, I'm just like, the car's there. I called another place. It would have been like a couple $100 cheaper, but I'm like, it's just not a couple $100. Like, he couldn't guarantee me it, right?
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't guarantee me. It was like, he's like, I don't know how much the installation is, but the part is only like $350. So then I just did the math in my head, and I'm like, just fix it. I know I'm getting fucked. It just is what it is, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Because it's there, and it's a pandemic. I'm going to go around shopping during a pandemic, get COVID. I'm going to be so mad at myself for trying to save $200. You know what I'm saying?
Playing out all the scenarios.
Right. Okay, so I get it fixed. Then they call me back 2 hours later, and they go, just so you know, we measured the treads on the tires. All 4 tires need to be replaced.
They
They
went
go,
ahead and did that
it's
for
$1,600.
you. No way. Come
And then they
on.
go, I go, I'll be coming to pick up my car in about an hour. Have it ready for me. And do not put any tires on this car because it's been sitting for a fucking year during a pandemic while my wife works at home. So I know
Right.
it doesn't need 4 tires, you fucking liar. Okay? And then she goes, wait,
Ah,
wait, wait. She's like, wait, wait. She goes, we're actually doing a special right now.
of course they are. Come on. Of course they
We're
are.
actually running a special right now.
That's so weird.
And she goes, it's only $1,200 for 4 tires. And then I said, eat my ass. I'll talk to you later. No, I didn't say eat my ass. I didn't, but I only did that with
Thought
the
it.
chimney guy.
You thought it.
Well, if it was a
Wow.
man, maybe I would have done it. But I think it's weird if I. It's not only weird for me to say eat my ass to anybody, let alone to a woman on the phone. You know?
Who still has your wife's car in their possession.
That's
So
true.
Probably,
That's true.
Probably a good call.
So I already got dogged on that. On that. Okay. Anyway, they also replaced the brakes without telling me, which cost me another $400.
They had to get you up into the thousands somehow.
And I
Jesus
just like,
Christ.
oh my god! But when I got there, I yelled about the tires to the guy, and he was like, he looked at it and he's like, "Yeah, your tires don't need to be replaced." It's just like it's
What
a
is
fucking
that?
pandemic. Let me tell you, what it is that L.A. Let's tie this into L.A.
Yeah.
So what it is in Los Angeles County, people are wimps. They are not born with this liberal, hard left people who don't know how to push back when they're getting dogged. And if you're
Right.
willing to be a complete prick in this town, in the town of LA, you will succeed because the pushback is so much less than a normal place, right?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. In a normal place, you go, people are like, what'd you say to me? 690? What did you say to me? You know? Did you say 690? Because I'm
Slap
right
him in the
here.
face.
So the thing is that in LA, I was trying to explain this to Shebs. I was talking to my best friend Shebs, wild guy, a wild cat, great deal maker, okay?
Oh yeah.
And I was like, listen, he's like, yeah, yo, if they did that to me, I'd flip out. And I would try to explain to him, you used to live in New York. If you came to LA, okay?
Uh-huh.
If you came to LA, I think you'd have a slightly different perspective because when you flip out on somebody in LA, it doesn't start the chain of events you're expecting. Okay? What you're expecting is somebody to go like, yo, well, here's the deal. And then you get into like a whole thing. And then it's so exhausting that you figure out a middle ground. You exhaust each other out until you compromise, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you go like, well, listen, I can't do it, man. I can't do it. You go, well, then I'll take it. I'll take it. But fine, I'm going to go. And then you just go, all right, how about this? And you both go, that's good. You're a good guy. We did it, right? It's beautiful. It's art. It's dance. It's ballet. It's a
beautiful
deal's ballet.
Mm-hmm.
Here, when you call somebody out for terrible service or something, they act like a fucking wounded cat. That like it's like oh, like what? Wait, what happened? Why did you make this so weird? Like, oh, because you're trying to completely rip me off, you fuckwad.
Why are you being like this?
And they're like, oh, yeah, this is weird. Like, you're crazy. Like, all right, like, I guess I'll get the manager. Like, I mean, and you're like, all right, like, imagine you had to go to, like Cafe Gratitude in like LA
God,
and
yeah.
complain about the food. You're going into a place where
come,
you
like,
have to
hold your
order
hand.
something where it's called like, I'll have the I am strong and powerful.
I know, yeah, uh-huh.
And then you have to be like, excuse me, in my I am strong, powerful, there was a hair.
Right.
And then you're fucking bringing harsh vibes because these people think hair is like organic matter that might belong in your food.
We gave that to you. That was
Erin,
a
I think
gift.
I'm ready to do stand up again. I think I'm ready to go.
You're discovering it?
I'm done with this pandemic. I'm fucking hilarious. This was all I just
maybe
did. Like,
you're getting funnier in the pandemic.
you think so?
Yeah. You caught a case of the COVID funnies 19.
I started auditioning again. Like I do it at home now. They have it like all figured out. And
Can
I'm
anyone
like,
do that? Are
actually
we all doing? Is that something anyone
You
can
want
do now?
auditions?
You do it from home? Yeah. I'd be good.
Erin,
Yeah.
because I could go on forever, let's actually get into some. Let's move on over to the newsroom. What do you think?
Condolences to your chimney.
Yes.
And congratulations on the fresh tail light.
Well, it is interesting because you're in this pandemic and people are still like, there is a part of me that's like, man, like we should be kinder to each other, right? Like,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
that's just not what capitalism is. That's just not what it is.
No, they're going to try to squeeze you no matter what, and maybe even a little harder now that we're in the pandemic.
Yeah, like it kind of feels even worse when you're like, man, this has been a tough year, and now you're trying to fucking squeeze me on top of
Yeah.
that.
Well, you know what? This is why, because like I'm from the Midwest, so I don't have the California mentality and I don't have the East Coast
Right.
mentality, even though I lived there for 10 years. So if I have to sit, like, I know if I go to get my oil changed, they're going to try to rip me off and show me how dirty the filter is, even though it's fine.
Right.
So I send my East Coast husband to do those chores for me because he'll wheel and deal and usually gets a discount or,
Yeah.
talks
Well, I
to
got a
these dudes.
great deal on the car itself, but they find a way to dog me. Anyway, Erin, let's head on over to the newsroom. What do you
I'd
think?
love to. Let's
All
do
right.
it.
All right. Walking over to my news desk. That was my comedy desk. Now I'm at the news desk. Woo!
Oh, it's
All right,
different.
let's lock it in. All right, Erin. Here's the deal. So this
Okay,
week,
Dan.
you and I were texting,
Yeah.
and we're like, weird times we're in. We had a hodgepodge of topics to discuss. But as always, this, like, truly, before I went on an hour diatribe about telling someone to eat my, and a chimney sweep to eat my ass, and talking about my car, what I was saying is that, but this podcast almost has a beautiful, beautiful organic nature to it, where
Right.
the stories come to us. And so as I was looking into some of these topics, I got derailed into another wormhole of anti-vaccination wormhole. Okay?
Oh.
So where we're at right now is okay, I first looked into this story about Steve Miller, okay? Who Trump is now, Joe Biden is officially the president thanks to Donald Trump for giving Joe Biden about 40 acceptance speeches.
I know. I said it the other day. I could watch Joe Biden. I'm wearing my Biden Harris shirt today. I could watch him be elected president so many times. Like when that banner comes up on CNN with like
Yeah.
his smiling face and it says president-elect. It never gets old. It feels like the first time every time.
Because
beautiful.
it's so hilarious because it's just like because of Trump's antics, what he's done is
Yeah.
elected Biden 45 times.
That's great.
And it's like hilarious because every time Biden takes his victory lap, you like him more and more, to be honest. You know?
I know.
I was talking to my buddy Shebs, who I mentioned already today, and he was just like, he's never really made comments about Biden, but he was like, Biden, I kind of like the cut of his jib. And I was
love the
like,
cut
I
of
think
his
people
jib.
are, I obviously love Biden because
Yeah.
because he went to University of Delaware.
Udell.
I say he's an honorary Ivy League school now. And also, Jill Biden was a little bit of a, I don't know, I guess a controversy, who received her doctorate also from the University of Delaware,
In
my alma mater.
2007. Mm-hmm. What years were you there? Maybe you were there at the same time as Dr. Jill.
I graduated in 06.
Oh, so she was
So
she was an underclassman when you were.
Yeah. Me, who knows? Maybe we like made out at a party or something.
Yeah. Don't tell Uncle Joe.
Don't
She's a beautiful
Guys,
lady.
let's get that rumor out there that in University of Delaware, circa 06, very much like a teacher, the FX show.
Oh my God.
I think that
But opposite.
it's the opposite. I was pursued by an older Jill Biden, Dr. Jill Biden.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God, this is even uncomfortable to joke about. God, I might be a misinformation machine
The
today.
gossip columns are already rumbling.
Erin, the only way to get ahead in this podcast format is via disinformation. So
Oh, shit.
I am spreading disinformation. You heard it here second. I made out with Jill Biden while I was at University of Delaware. She groomed me. No,
She was at a frat
I
party.
hate this. Yeah. She came to Sigma Alpha Mu frat party.
Uh-huh.
And okay, anyway,
Things
I
got
hate
crazy.
this. I hate this. Okay, I don't like
Well,
this.
truth
I don't even
hurts.
like really when people make like jokes about Melania, even like whatever. Okay, no, you can make jokes about her, but like people go a little far with the Melania stuff.
Well,
you know,
she's trash.
yeah, she is trash, but she's also a victim in a way as well.
No.
But also a culprit.
She's a shark. She's a
Absolutely.
shark. That's what they say. She's a shark.
Okay, So anyway, Joe Biden, there was a controversy. That's another non-story. Two non-stories. One non-story is Steve Miller said Trump is bringing alternate electors because on Monday, Donald Trump was, Joe Biden was certified officially the president-elect for January 1st, 2020, which will be my birthday, my great birthday present for me to see Donald Trump, send him back home to the city I love. I guess it's a lose for me in both ways. But no, he's going to go to Mar-a-Lago.
To be fair, he's going to Florida.
Yeah, which is a city I really don't love. Mar-a-Lago, wherever that is. But okay, so so alternate electors, it's not a thing. There's nothing to talk about. There's no story here. It's just bullshit. A way to they're trying to keep raising money.
It's crazy. Well, and as someone pointed out on MSNBC, only 75%, like not all the money they receive has to go towards this cause. Right. So who knows what the rest of the money.
It's just a money grab. That's all we're looking at.
It's crazy. And Steve Miller's trash.
So that being said, there's just no story there. Steve Miller's trash, and that's it.
It's a fantasy. It's made up. There's no.
So it's like I saw Chris Cuomo was saying he was like he was trying to like move past these stories. He's like these stories are like not stories. And Mitch McConnell has now acknowledged Joe Biden as his tribal chief, the head of the table.
The Electoral College has spoken.
Yes, Joe Biden is the president.
Jeff Probst poured water over something.
Yeah. Donald Trump was deemed the weakest link, and the leakest wink, and it's done. It's done. There's no story there. Donald Trump is not the president anymore. Starting January 20th, that's it. And we've seen it. He's going to put a fight up till the end. He will not be doing, and I'm not surprised, he will not be attending inauguration. He's a joke. He's a joke. There's nothing else to say. He's completely abandoned his country after losing this election. If you are hanging on for him at all, I mean, at this point, I don't know what, you're probably not listening to this podcast because I don't know. I don't know what the fuck you're listening to. But, so what I did stumble into is like I was trying to go down a positive wormhole, which I was looking at vaccine stuff. Now, there's no such thing as a true positive in modern times, okay? That's
Sadly.
just the reality here. Because this vaccine is being administered. It's already, I think, in Chicago yesterday, and I watched a doctor get inoculated on the air with Brianna Keels on CNN.
Big Keels.
And in real time was getting shot, trying to tell you this vaccine is fine. But then what happened was, I stumbled across a guy I went to college with on Facebook.
It starts this way a lot.
And I'm going to see if I can get him on the podcast, but I was trying to avoid this part before I had him on. But maybe he'll be open to coming on knowing this, or maybe he won't listen, or I hope he does, and and I'm going to ask him. We'll see. And I like this guy, by the way. I went to University of Delaware with him. He has the same degree as your president-elect. So I don't know what that means, okay? And he's kind of like, I want to say he's like spiritual, very spiritual. Oh. Max, I don't know. To me, Max spiritual, but he maybe to some of you who are spiritual, you'd say he's like a 30%. I don't know. I can't gauge what that means. I'm full on like Emperor's New Clothes, right? Where it's like if I don't see it, it doesn't exist. I say I'm a man of zero spirituality. I don't have any kind of like belief in shit that's not tangible. It just is what it is. Yeah. It's listen, it's not a great existence. It's just what I got. Yeah. And so he posts this link. He posts a lot of stuff. We were both in Sedona at the same time. I won't say his name. So I think it's fair, but we were both, and I'm in Sedona because the rocks are red, right? This guy's in Sedona because like this is the like landing place of vortexes or whatever, like of spiritual energy.
Communing with the spirits and stuff.
Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People are in Sedona to like connect with energy or whatever.
Earth.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if I have friends, like I was talking to one of my friends, and he was saying like, oh, his girlfriend gives him, or his fiance gave him a rock for energy that like blocks out, like he lays around a lot of a tech,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, oh, it blocks that out, and like he doesn't believe in it, but I'm like, that's a fucking nice gesture. Like I have no problem with this to being whatever gets you through, whatever works for you.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As long as we understand that like that's your gimmick, you know what I mean? Like that's your thing, right? You know, like comedy is really important to me, but I understand it's not that important to everybody, so that I understand, like if you're like that's something you're into that interests you. I spoke to a woman the other day who was really into Greek mythology. I was like, that's fucking cool.
That's interesting.
Where would you dig? You know what I mean? Do your thing. Here's the problem. This guy's out in nature. He's finding himself. He's feeling the fucking prana. I don't know what that is, but he's feeling that. More respect to him. More power to him. Okay? I like a lot of shit that is stupid to other people, including professional wrestling, which is I got no ground to stand on for many people. Yeah, and I think it's one of the highest forms of art. Okay, I get that. I love Magic the Gathering, which is a game that many people are like that is for children, and I'd say to you, that is correct.
You're right.
But here's the problem: your gimmick doesn't need to be political, okay? And now here's the problem. Now, nothing to me, I find comedy to me is like sacred, But your gimmick cannot intersect with science. That's when we start having a problem, bro. That's you know what I mean? That's when I start going to you like, dude, what you're doing is part of the problem. I don't care if you vote for Trump or Biden. So this guy posted this video about the vaccine.
Oh, God.
And I'm just going to play an excerpt from it.
Okay.
I'm going to play it for like longer than we want to listen to it, but that's the point of this, okay?
Okay. Thanks for the warning.
And this is what he posted, okay? Now, it's not him saying this, but he posted this, right?
Right.
And, all right, let's just listen to this woman. Keep in mind, this is 3/4 of the way through this video. So I think this video is about 10 minutes. Like this is like in the 7th minute of this video already.
Okay.
Deeper into navigating this vaccine, navigating and educating ourselves on what are our rights, what are our choices, what is in the vaccine. Just diving deep and having a dialogue around it and being able to be okay with looking at what may be frightening and disturbing, and also knowing that we have sovereignty, we have choice. And if you have to take it, how to navigate that, right? How to navigate it if you do have to take it. Because again, there are different vaccines out there, and my guides did say there are placebo vaccines. But they also said that some of these vaccines are designed to manipulate human DNA. Now, again, like I said in the very beginning of this video, we get through this. We all get through this, and we're all going to be okay. Okay? But we have to go through this, and can we go through this together? My intention is to show up as often as I can, walking us through this, educating, honoring, allowing ourselves to have all the human emotions around it. The way we dissolve these consciousnesses, these systems that have been in place for a very long time that have tried to control us, is that we learn about it. We educate ourselves. We critically think. Does this make sense? Does any of this make sense?
Okay, Erin.
Okay.
How are you feeling? How are you feeling after this clip? How are you feeling?
My
This woman's name is Yeah, what's her intentions? This woman, by the way, she deserves to have her name out there because she's a big following. Lori Ladd is her name, and
My intention
she
with
is one of
this
these people who thinks she looks
response
healthy, but looks not healthy to me.
looks
But
like
yeah,
shit.
go. Yeah.
Yeah. How am I feeling?
Yeah, how are you feeling, Erin? Are you feeling
Well, she
triggered?
asked the question, does
Yeah.
any of this make sense?
Right.
And science would say that it all makes sense.
Yeah, of course, Erin.
Does
You
this
already
make
targeted
sense?
one of my problem areas of this.
Does this make sense?
Yeah.
My intent is to allow you to
Erin,
explain
feel it.
why
Feel it.
this is bullshit. What she's saying doesn't make a lot of sense. Also, my intention is to manipulate human DNA with a vaccine to create new humans? Question mark.
So, Erin,
I got a lot more questions.
you
after
sound enlightened to
listening
me. You sound
than
enlightened to me.
Yeah.
You sound very enlightened to me.
Does this make sense?
And so, I mean, okay.
My God.
I have a lot to say about this because I really have a lot to say about this. Okay, first off,
And that was the
I'm
end
not
of
a
the
fucking
video.
scientist. So, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. Okay, I'm not Jill Biden. We had a thing once.
Yeah, but you're not a doctor by proxy.
Okay, I hate that bit. I'm letting that go.
Till next time.
Okay, so my thought on this whole thing is like, first off, I wanted to point out to you that it's like 7 minutes into this video because I find that to be extremely relevant. Because one of the tools of these disinformation people, okay, and this is an extreme left-wing disinformation person, by the way, okay, is to ramble, okay? Say nothing. They're all a version of that, like, Nicholas Fane, Fred Armisen character, where they're like,
Right.
What was, and you're like,
Well,
there's
and
no
it's also-
substance.
It's also like
No
that,
specifics, extremely vague, you know?
But also the way she talks is like that kind of like hypnosis.
Yes.
speak, that
It's like
Nancy-
ASMR,
It's
right?
like Nancy Salzman from Nexium, who
Right.
was like a pro at that. Like they talk to you in this way and they say nothing, but it's like it hypnotizes your brain when you're listening to it.
Right, and also she has like really good tactics. And by the way, very like all of these like kind of hippie people, and not just hippie people, but like all these like Candace Owens, all these like these reckless influencers, right? Because she's not political per se, but now she is a political influencer, right?
Right.
She claims to not be, but now she is, and like, you're like, they have a couple of decent points, but it's conflating. And so her delivery mechanisms are A+. She's like, if you see the beginning of this video, she's like, I know this is touchy for you, and like I come at you with love, and like I know a lot of you are feeling uneasy, and this is why this stuff's easy to speak about. Uneasy to speak about, is hard to speak about. And you're like, oh yeah, that is true. Like this stuff is hard to speak about. True, good point. You've hooked me. And then she makes another manipulative point where she's like, there are dark forces at work in our government, and blah blah blah. And you're like, that is true. That is 100% true. Candace Owens also makes this point, right? She made it on that last episode we listened to. There's a lot of people making this point. It's something I struggle with. Is I am naive to evil. Like, I cannot believe, and that's one positive of this Trump presidency, is like, it was putting evil on, like, putting people with evil, let's say evil, evil's too charged of a word, even though I do think it applies. But like bad actors, people with bad intentions, fully on display to the point where it's irrefutable, right? Like post-election, now you're anti-democracy. That's like just proven, right?
Yeah.
So you're actually not in the best interest of this country. Like you are just out for your own interests, even though you hold public office. So that's fully on display now, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so rare that we get that because all these other politicians are way more slick at being, you know, so you're like, so you play on people's cynicism. So now she's talking about this video about the vaccine, and some people are gonna have to take it. It's all just, it's vagatories, vague, but very soothing to you. And then 7-minute markers where she drops my guides. What's that?
That raised an eyebrow over here. My guides?
What's a guide?
Who are the guides?
Right. Is that
like
actual like form, a human form
like an
guide,
entity,
like your
or
HMO.
my guide. Yeah, like I call my primary care physician,
Don't know
or
what. Right,
okay,
confusing there. That's my guide. Said
my
that it
guides.
manipulates your DNA. Okay,
Human DNA.
human DNA. Now, I actually don't know enough about science to know if if vaccines manipulate DNA as part of their process. But on the little I do know, which is just the stuff you've heard me on this podcast, I don't think that's what vaccines do. It's like she's like, "What is this vaccine? What's in the vaccine?" And you're like, "I believe vaccines are just weakened versions of the virus, right?"
I don't know. I can't answer that.
Well, we've said that. Like that's what vaccines are, right? Like they're versions of the virus that trick your body into being
Right.
immune, right? We talked about that in an episode a couple months ago or whatever. Like
Yeah.
what is it? What is a vaccine? What does it mean when it's 70% effective, blah blah blah. But to these people to lump in people like Trump with like pure with scientists and doctors, I mean, what kind of arrogance do you have to have? Like, yes, there are bad actors at play, but to say that like every doctor you see on TV, every single one is manipulated by some kind of science overlord to trick them into the fact that like, and they have to be taught in medical school and whatever science programs they teach over time that science is happening for completely different reasons than it's actually happening, when a lot of it is
Right.
math. And you're like, what kind of arrogance do you fucking have because you teach yoga? I mean, like, right?
Yeah, totally.
What the fuck is
Totally.
wrong? And how do these people follow these people? Like, how much escapism do these fucking hippies need?
Or like, how little do they actually think about what they're listening to not put those pieces together? It's like, yeah. So what you're saying is that these real doctors, their plan all along with all their training is not to actually deliver the thing that is useful that they say that they're delivering, which is like care, treatment, vaccines, medicine, or whatever. It's to cater to some like nefarious purpose that the government hands down. That's crazy.
Yeah. So let's like let's okay. So like okay, here's my thing. When I say hippies, okay, you know, it's like I fucking have such a problem with these extreme hippies. I
Like
have
the
a
real
problem.
new agey stuff.
Yes, because they're just like Jedis who can't do any of the cool shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like-
yeah.
It's like these people, they pretend they're Jedis in a way, like, because like, what is the Force? The Force is just nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's why you don't need, I'm going into Star Wars metaphors here, but I was having this conversation with someone, and I was like, you don't need, why midichlorian was an over justification in the Star Wars universe is because the Force is grounded in our actual reality. We all believe in the Force because
Right.
we see people like these people pretending that they can use the Force, which is just like they have the power of nature, right?
Right. Yeah.
So you're like, oh, we all have been at by ourselves at like a creek in the forest, and you're like, wow, this is like so different than my normal surroundings and so serene and beautiful. And these people exploit that very human feeling of nature and act like it's a power, you know?
Right.
And you're like,
it's like chemistry between two people is another example. Like if you meet someone and you click with them,
yes.
that's the Force. But I just read an article in Vanity Fair about this thing called the True Flame Universe, which is
Right.
an online cult, and it's a couple who believe that they can manipulate and control what we know as the Force that connects us with other people. So they're out there, folks.
Yeah, I mean, the closest power I have to the Force is like I can pee. You know, it's like
You
I'll
can,
stand
like-
in front of the toilet and then I'm like pee, and then I pee. You know?
You choose, and then without doing anything, it happens.
Yes. Well,
Some
no, I
might
kind
argue,
of have
though, that
control
you,
because I
you,
let go of whatever
release your
what-
muscles. that
right,
hold the
whatever
bladder
force I
shut.
have that's holding back the liquid. I mean, this is a little graphic, but we can handle
Still.
it. But here's the deal. Like, these people, I'm saying, like, they're doing everything that Jedis do. You know what I mean? Like, calming, meditating, dressing in hemp, and, like, whatever, except, and wearing, like, robes, and, like, living in caves, except they can't do any of the cool shit that Jedis do. And my point is that Jedis are not cool if they can't force jump. If they can't move stuff with their hands, then they're fucking losers. Right?
Right.
So the only reason that Jedis literally convince you that a sword is a better weapon than a gun. And then they prove it to you. They're like, look, pew, 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 right? These people are trying to tell you, like, what I do is stronger than a gun. But they can't stop bullets. They can't do it. So they're just, right? All they do is eat fucking green stuff. I mean, they make smoothies out of my lawn, and all of a sudden, you know what I mean?
A lot of wheatgrass.
Yeah, that's like, that drives me as nuts as extreme right people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, that being said, I do like the gimmick, the aesthetic. I love people I love the fact that they're celebrating nature, that they like are into like remedies and it comforts them, and they find these, like, sage
natural healing,
smells nice. Yes, that's great.
Aromatherapy crystals.
Right. I like that. I'm into that. That's fun. But then it's like, you take it, it's like, now you're going to get in the way of science and vaccines.
That's where the problem is. Yeah.
Right. So
when
now
you're intermingling your beliefs in this new agey stuff with actual science,
it's as damaging as stuff Trump has done. That's the truth. And we have to hold everybody across the spectrum accountable. Like, the fringes of both parties are like dragging everybody down.
right?
You know?
Yeah.
And this is fringe. So I'm gonna read my friend. So that video. Here's the post he wrote. Well, he's still my friend. I think he's misguided, and I think that I haven't talked to this guy. I talked to this guy a little bit, but we haven't like hung out in years, and I hope he's okay to get to this point, you know. But I'll give him some truth that no one around him is gonna have the balls to give him, you know. And
yeah.
he said, "Okay, Lori Ladd is a very powerful, intuitive quote parentheses psychic, ascension teacher. I share her videos often. I love that the way she navigates difficult conversations in such a grounded manner. Spelled like a beautiful house.
Manor. Like what we have here in Napa.
Yes, spelled like what you have behind you in Napa. She shares info in this video on vaccines coming out, on the vaccines that are coming out, and we'll be holding a live YouTube video on Saturday. Should we watch it, Erin?
Yeah, I was going to say, well, let's join.
Info referenced in this video to go deeper into educating people on how to navigate this. I've been trying to stay away from posting about these topics, but I think it's very important to share perspective for those who wish to hear a different source other than what is being dramatically force-fed on the television.
Media.
So, like, that's, again, conflating. Like, there are problems with mainstream media. They are owned by huge corporations. That's a big problem. But saying that vaccines are a byproduct of huge media, that's a big allegation. Let's see the fucking proof, man.
Yeah,
I don't need to see some hippie on an iPhone that's fucking made by like Chinese slave labor that she's completely fine with to push her. She has a Patreon, this woman. So you're like, that's my tech. You're a fucking walking contradiction. I can't stand these people. You know what I mean?
You'd be like living with the land and a shaman somewhere and not like exploiting.
Not a fucking YouTube star?
Right.
I mean,
great way to get clicks.
Yeah. Not to mention the full, like, it's like, anyway, she's also saying so like that we shouldn't call it a vaccine. She's like, it should be called.
Why? Why shouldn't we call it a vaccine when it?
This woman, I guarantee, no one in her family talks to her anymore.
Right.
That's my test. You know, I have this new test that I've developed. Okay, Erin?
Yeah, I want to hear about
expertise.
This test. Okay.
People, be wary of people who come at you with a couple of behaviors that I don't like. Okay?
Okay. I'm gonna
One
see if I
behavior
tick off
is
any
the-
of these behaviors.
if you meet them and they're immediately telling you they're not on speaking terms with people, okay? Those are people who are always like trying to shed the toxic people of their life, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to
Oh,
like let go of that.
sorry, mom. Like, you're gone. Thanks for feeding me for 25 years.
Shit.
You're out. You're
Right.
out, mom. You're
I don't
out.
talk
And
to
like,
her
don't get me
anymore.
wrong. There's some bad parents out there, right?
Right.
And there are people who don't. Who,
But those people don't walk into a party and start
Right.
telling you about how they are distancing themselves from their toxic mom and stepdad
Right.
or whatever.
Oh man. God, whatever. All right, Erin. For time, we'll get back into this.
Is there another? Is that the only checkbox on the test?
No, there's more.
Okay.
Okay.
You could stop there.
That's my main checkbox, though. It's not about just family. It's like if you're like, it's just about like people who are constantly disassociating from everyone. If people who blame their problems on their parents all the time, I always think that's a huge red flag. You know.
Mhm.
Oh, I fucked with my levels here. Hold on. Hello, 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 hello. All right, hopefully I didn't fuck it up too much. All right, anyway,
good.
I got too worked up. People who blame all their problems on their parents. I'm a
Yeah.
little old school in that way, where I'm like, because I feel like too much self-help, I think, is a big problem. Even though I'm into
Mhm.
self-help, you know,
Mhm.
I understand it, but people come at you with because we have a big problem coming up, which is like self-help is a huge industry. You want to get into that? Like, this woman is an example of a big problem, which is there's actually no guidance for these like motivational people and these right, all these
Oh, yeah,
there's
100%. People will tell you, former cult members, family members of people's in cults or like multi-level marketing schemes,
Right.
there's no regulation over these things. So, you know,
yeah, a girl
people
that
get
I
hurt.
know. A girl that I know, I just put this together because I saw it in a thing. She was like pushing this hair product. I haven't talked to this girl in
MLM.
years. Yeah, and it's and then I saw a thing. It's here, I'll tell you the name of the company. Maybe it's Monat.
Oh yeah, that is an MLM.
Right. And then I saw a thing being like they're getting like brought up on charges and shit like
Yep.
that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And you're like, that's a girl. Like, yo, I think once you hit 30, you got to be wary of anyone you know.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Totally.
Eric. I'm bringing up a bunch of. I'm all over the place right now. But like, yeah, that's one of the tests. It's like people were like constantly writing off everyone. Everyone else is the problem. Like everyone else. Now, that is not to say that people are not abused. People are not neglected. People don't have like traumas and blah blah blah. Totally. But victim mentality, scarcity
Yeah.
mentality.
Like making a show of it, kind of.
Yeah. And by the way, I used to do a lot of this shit when I was younger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I used to do a lot of these behaviors. My wife would point this out. She'd go, and I was like, and then I'd be like, no, I don't do that. But then like privately in the bathroom or something, I'm like,
in the shower,
yo,
you're like
shit.
crying.
Oh
thinking
yeah, I do that. You know?
Yeah.
I have all these
Oh.
friends who are like really privileged people who like hate their parents because their parents like
Oh,
don't
God.
think exactly the way they do, and you're like, why does that need to happen? Why do you have to be like perfectly aligned with your parents? Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Anyway,
Never supported me.
that's what I'm saying. But a lot of this is like far left shit that like a lot of people are not as exposed to it as I am. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. Well anyway, listen, these are blanket statements, and this is kind of the part of the problem. Is this is a regular guy news? We're having fun. I'm
Right.
diving into this. I don't know any of this shit. I know we're diving into deep, uncharted territories of disinformation. As a matter of fact, Erin, I'm reading this article.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm going a little long today, Erin. I apologize.
That's all right.
Because I did a little stand-up routine at the top, I guess.
Yeah, it was worth it. It was worth it.
To an audience of one, you and Napa.
Wow.
So I was looking at like disinformation stuff about vaccines, because of this woman's clip.
Mm-hmm.
And I came across this article on the BBC and it's about actually like what they're doing in England. And I thought that was really interesting, like to get a perspective from another country. And they're saying that the Labour Party, which is kind of like their left party, you know, they're trying to push these emergency laws to stamp out dangerous anti-vaccine content online. And they're directly talking to social media platforms about mislabeling any information about the vaccine that is not proven, about like, because they're worried about all these stories that are going to come out. People saying, like talking about like I took the vaccine and then my asshole started bleeding or whatever the hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
because that stuff spreads like wildfire. I mean, it does here in the U.S. So they're probably trying to stop it, and so they can get, critical mass vaccinated before disinformation.
But also, like they're saying, like they're like, we need to be able to address people's legitimate questions and concerns about the vaccines, like levels of immunity we'll start to see, because there's stuff we still need to learn about it, and like who it's appropriate to take, and if you have chronic health conditions, like this is a quote from someone in the Parliament who's like, there's nothing wrong with asking those questions, and strong public health messaging from the government should be reinforced by us to like navigate those fears. But like all these baseless conspiracies about coronavirus, they're spreading on social media for months. Here, I'll read this. And the latest vaccine news rekindled these pre-existing narratives online. These include false claims that the vaccine is a means of inserting microchips into the population, altering our DNA. Oh, so I got my answer here.
There's your guide. BBC is one of the guides.
Yeah, so her guides say this, right? Or even a weapon of genocide. Within hours of news breaking about Pfizer biotech vaccine, comments and memes suggesting it will deliberately harm us were popping up all over Facebook group, parent groups, and on Instagram. This kind of disinformation is worlds away from legitimate concerns that that a vaccine is safe and properly tested. Despite commitments to tackle falsehoods from social media sites and the government, a constant bubbling of conspiracies online look to have already eroded trust for the effective vaccine. Here, I'll jump to this. Pseudoscience figures with large online followings who have spread other false claims, such as linking coronavirus to 5G or suggesting the pandemic as a host. They've turned their attention towards vaccine disinformation.
Oh my God.
So, like, that's what these people, this is an influencer.
Yeah.
So just because this person drinks a fruit smoothie through her butthole doesn't mean she knows anything about science. Right?
That's fair.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so listen to this, Erin.
Okay.
What's the most effective vaccine we have? You know this.
Measles.
97%.
Right?
Okay, in 2019, the UK lost its measles-free status, designated by the World Health Organization. And there's been a marked decline in vaccine rates for all 13 diseases covered in jabs for children. They call them jabs in England.
We
you know
learned that in our special report last week, Dan.
You did. You told me that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but in England, it looks like the government's pretty much in solidarity about going after these social media companies. You know?
Yeah. No shit.
Yeah, and they're saying that the social media companies are definitely listening, but they're inadequate. And Boris Johnson said that anti-vax is total nonsense, and you should definitely get a vaccine.
From Boris.
Yeah. Well, he's actually
controversial figure, but he's on this
he's
vaccine thing.
Yeah, he's a fucking moron, but he's right about this stuff apparently. And by the way, that's from
he almost died from COVID, so let's not forget.
Anyway, we'll get back more into this, Erin, but for time, I think we should move on to your special report. But we're going to follow. Okay. I honestly think this podcast is going to follow Trump's legacy into this disinformation era, as this vaccine is becoming something that's going to come up for you guys. Like, let's follow. If people are right now, people taking these vaccines, and I know people who are in these trials who are and they might get a placebo. And what I've seen from the two people I know who have been part of the trials. Like one guy was like, the day after I took it, I had like 99% temperature, 99 degrees, you know? Like I
Uh-huh.
was up a little bit, felt a little sick. Next day, totally fine. And that seems to be what's happening to everybody, you know?
Interesting. Interesting.
So that
Well,
we
we'll
do know, we'll
see.
follow that. And then the other thing I know, these are firsthand things, is well, not firsthand because that's from a friend, but the other thing I know firsthand is I've had 2 family members who had coronavirus who dropped dead. So, right? One
Yep.
65, one in her late 80s. So that's information I know that I'm not reading anywhere, that I just know from person to person. So I would trust that way more than I trust this. I mean, you don't have to trust me, by the way. Maybe you shouldn't trust me. I don't know, but I really don't know. But fuck, man, this podcast. It's really funny because I was like, we're doing this podcast, and then I was like, I don't know what we're going to talk about after the election, and then I'm like, holy shit. Joe Rogan is willing to have Alex Jones on his podcast. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I like Joe Rogan. I mean, I think he's really funny. I admire the guy in a lot of ways, you know? But, like, what's fuck is happening? They're saying podcasts are, like, the number one source of disinformation now, you know? I mean,
That's
like,
rough.
where are we headed here, you know? It's like the number one guy will have Alex Jones literally
Bottom
was
of
saying
the barrel.
Sandy Hook was a fucking hoax, right?
Yeah, he was the one who was preaching the crisis actors theory, the
And he doesn't
hardest
even
and the
say
loudest.
right. Aaron, he doesn't go like, look, I can't verify this. Like, I just had heard this from someone. He's not doing that, which is
He's never done that. And he
no.
said like
He goes,
Hillary
I have the
Clinton-
documents. I have the files.
Right.
I have the papers.
Right.
Right?
Hillary Clinton is a lizard person. Like, not I heard or they say.
You're right. And it's like,
Speaking in certainties.
I mean, yeah, I'm not exactly sure where we're going here. I don't know what some of these people are fucking thinking. So, like, a dude, I talked about Tim Dillon on here before.
Yeah, yeah.
The guy's so fucking funny. He's so funny, and he's really interesting because when I listen to his podcast, I'm like, it's like, I can tell he's doing a character, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he believes some of this stuff, but there's times where he says things where you're like, and he's gaining increasing popularity. He says things that's like, that's so clearly not his belief. He's not, right? And like
Right.
that stuff needs to be protected. Like that's funny character choice or whatever, you know? But man, like so there's that, and I could get past that, but like, is there an excuse to treat Alex Jones like he's not a fucking complete wackadoo?
No.
I just don't I don't even know the answer. Like this is John Swan I saw, who's like
Love
he was
John
on
Swan.
Axios, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
the best.
really great, and like his
Yeah.
energy. That guy's so fucking intense.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even when he's just not interviewing, when he's just talking, like they've had him on MSNBC, I think. He's
Right.
great.
Yeah, and so like this guy, who he said it when he was talking to I think the Koch brothers or one of the Kochs. I think one of the Koch brothers is dead, right?
Yeah.
The alive Koch and his heir. All right, and they were conversing, and he was like, how do you combat all this disinformation? And he was like, and John Swan was like, because I don't know how you do it. I actually don't know how you do it. And I was like, fuck, like, you think this guy would know that there's a way through this? And you're like, these
Right.
people are like, like the media is like, we don't know what to do. You know what I mean?
That's a bad sign.
So anyway, Erin, let's move on to your special
Okay.
report here.
Sure.
We're heading over to some local news, a little
Yeah,
California.
this is local
So
news. I happen to be here, but
yeah, I mean, this applies to it's local because California, but I mean, California is the biggest state in the union, has the most electoral
55
votes,
electoral votes. Put
has the
Uncle
it's the
Joe-
most populated, right?
yes, and we put Joe. We elected him again. We were the last
Yeah.
state in to get him to that 306. What a treat.
Erin,
Yes, Dan.
let's hear your special
Okay.
report about California.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay.
Today, I'm bringing you a special report on Governor Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, and his outstanding hair.
Heard of him.
Yeah, you've heard of him. All
Heard of
right.
him.
So
Well, that's why you're at French Laundry right now.
I happen to be here at French Laundry
but you
today
have a
because I'm
reservation.
attending a private dinner with
Yeah.
a group of friends. We're gathering here at French Laundry this
Mm-hmm.
evening. But Gavin Newsom, our governor in California, has taken some heat recently. And it all started right behind me here at this restaurant when he, amidst the pandemic, while preaching that we all need to avoid gatherings and not wear masks, he attended a dinner for one of his friends who is like a lobbyist or something like that and was photographed not wearing a mask here at this restaurant. So Gavin Newsom has been a hero initially. Shame. Was a hero initially in this pandemic. He was praised for his efforts with the COVID crisis in California, stay-at-home orders, all of that stuff. Now, when he was busted here not wearing a mask and not practicing what he preaches, things took a little bit of a turn. And, you know, living in California, we know that these stay-at-home orders have been kind of fucked up and like unclear and confusing, and the news reporting is really vague. So Gavin,
and also like right now, there's no clear federal plan. They have not approved any funding, so it's arguable right now that like you guys don't have your shit together enough to tell us to shut down our businesses, right?
Right. Yeah, and I mean, like, obviously,
you have to pay people to not open a small business.
Yes.
It just is what it is.
And that should be coming from
because they're taxpayers.
The feds, arguably, which we don't have. So the states, we're all kind of, all 50 of us, all of our states are just trying to figure it out. So Newsom, you know, he's having a tough time right now. And he's also faced with the decision of replacing Kamala Harris in the Senate when she becomes vice president in January. So he's stacked against that. It's a whole thing. So in 2003, Governor of California, Gray Davis, was recalled as governor, and we elected, at the time, California residents, Arnold Schwarzenegger as governor. That's how we got the governor in a recall election.
To be fair, neither of us lived in the state at the time.
No. We're just speaking in retrospect here. So,
and secondly, apparently people really enjoyed him as the governor.
Yes. Well, in that recall election, there was like 130, 200 candidates on the bill, including Gary Coleman, a porn star, Arnold Schwarzenegger. So like, it's game on. So now that approval rating seems to be a little down for Gavin, there's an effort to recall him as governor. So there was an extension granted. They have to get to, I think it's like just under between 1 and 1.5 million signatures to get the recall on the ballot. And the recall organizers were granted an extension till sometime in March to get those signatures. Now, the folks behind this recall are, would you believe it, GOP representatives from California.
Wow.
And they claim to have more than half the signatures they need. Don't know if that's true or not, but they are working on it. And they're saying that their efforts have resonated, and it's about the arrogance of power that Gavin Newsom displayed, eating without a mask on with his friends. So yeah, we'll see what happens. They have until March, but the thing is that California, we're a blue state.
Yeah.
This is the GOP is the group putting this whole thing together. You know, there's not a great chance that a Republican would fare well in a recall race if it happened, but anything is possible. In my opinion, we get some more celebrities on the ticket if it does happen, and we see what happens. We roll the dice.
Yeah.
But we'll
Erin,
see.
I don't know if you have this piece of information for me, but what would it take for me to be entered into the recall pool?
To be on the ballot?
Yeah.
Let me see. What does it take?
Because I would like to say this now. This is official. If Gavin Newsom is recalled, I am running for governor of California.
Okay. Well, let's see.
Because I want to eat at French Laundry. I can't get a reservation like you. I feel like
you don't know the right people.
I'm not really that interested in solving the pandemic or any of that stuff. I just think it would be super chill for me to be able to just roll into French Laundry, especially during a pandemic.
Like as
Yeah, all
governor.
my podcasts be me, you, Newman,
Yeah.
Tulo, Anosh,
Mhm.
Pesapani, all the people behind my podcast universe.
Maybe we
We'll
could
all
just start
fucking
broadcasting from within French Laundry.
maybe I'll be like, you'll hear me. I'm doing the pod, and I'm like, sorry, just a little foie gras. You know
I
what I
got
mean?
truffle stuck in between my teeth.
Sorry, there's truffle between my fucking beautiful
Well, Dan,
teeth.
you'll be happy to hear that to qualify for the ballot,
Right.
you need a minimum of 897,158 valid signatures.
Wait, that's like 1 million signatures?
Under 1 million, but
I can't make that happen.
this is going
I
back.
don't think I
So
get a
it would
million.
be equal to 12%
I could try to go
of
door
the
to
votes
door,
cast.
but I don't know.
You got a lot of doors. I mean, you're in LA, you could hit a lot of doors. But yeah, so we'll see. Dan Black could be on the recall ballot. It's definitely possible. We could launch a website, a campaign, regular guy campaign to see what happens.
So, Erin, here's what I want to say. I have 2 questions for you.
Yeah.
Do you have more information, or should I ask my
No,
questions?
ask your questions.
Great report.
Thank you.
You gave us. Let's lock in all that information.
Lock it in.
We don't want that floating around. We want to lock it down.
Mm-hmm.
Put a nail on that information. But here's what I would say, Erin. Okay. So we're saying right now we have till March. The GOP people have till March to get those signatures there.
Yeah, they have a website, I guess, and it's the deadline's March to get the petition in.
Here's my question for you: would you vote for a Newsom recall?
I won't be signing the petition. No, I don't approve of what Gavin Newsom has done, but I think he's hot and has great hair, and
that's all
early on in the pandemic, I think he's a jackass, and I don't think he really knows what he's doing, but I'm not going to be signing the petition.
I can't sign a petition led by GOP people.
That's the thing, yeah.
Especially now. Like, once that party gets their shit together, then we can talk, and I can hold these Democratic guys to a higher standard. But, like, at the same time, I do think what Newsom did is a fireable offense. I think it's like, I get why people are signing it. Like, I don't blame them, you know?
Yeah.
What he did is so fucking ridiculous, considering how adamant he is. And, what he did is so damaging to the scientific efforts of this pandemic, you know?
I know. Well, and it's just like, he obviously thought he wouldn't get busted, and then went on this whole thing where he said, like, I wish I would have just turned around and, like, gone home or whatever. But it's like, dude, there's no planet in which you would have turned around on your way to this lovely restaurant that we see here and not gone to your $1,200 truffle and caviar dinner there.
Here's what I'll say. I bet there's more to this story that we don't know, which is, like, I don't, like, who's at this dinner and the pressure on him as a politician, and all politicians to, like, his donors were there, right? That's what we saw, donors, and, like, the power donors have, and all this dark money, you know, that comes into campaigning, and also how the Democrats are kind of hypocrites because they're into, like, campaign reform, but also still play the game because you have to. It's the same way that Republicans still run for government even though they're anti-government, right? Like, there's always some kind of contradiction and, like, dichotomy to the whole thing. So because of that, I bet there's more there where he was like, I shouldn't do this, but if I don't show my face, the repercussions. Like, I bet there's shit we don't know, you know?
Yeah.
We know that it seems out of character for this guy to me, but that's my gut. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters ultimately, you know?
Right. Well, now that this has all gone down, and now that there's this, like, GOP recall effort out there, Newsom is doubling down, and he's actually assembling, like, his Avengers as if he were about to campaign. He's hired insiders who could help him repair frayed relationships with legislators and bring sharper political instinct to his office. So he's kind of, like, putting this team together to back him up as we navigate through the end of the year and the rest of this pandemic. And hopefully this, because for him, this thing doesn't have any ground to stand on.
The other element of the thing is that Gavin Newsom clearly has presidential aspirations, right?
He should.
He definitely does. And these are the relationships of people who are eating at French Laundry are the people who get you elected to president.
Yeah, well, the guy was a lobbyist, or the person
right?
he was there, who there for their birthday
Right.
party.
So the problem is less about him and more about the system and him winning the same way an Obama won. And that's what no one's saying. And that's the problems with like media is that
Yeah.
shit doesn't come up. CNN doesn't say that. As a matter of fact, we should look into that, Erin, for next episode. Can you write down a note as part of this special report, Addendum
Okay.
A, is I
Addendum
want you
A.
to find out who the lobbies there, how much money they donated. Is this lobbyist effective in getting Democrats elected in the past? How important are these lobbyists who were there if there's that kind of information at the ready, you know?
Okay.
All right. Anyway, I think we said a lot. I think we said, frankly, too much, but interesting. I feel like this pod post-election is heating up, you know?
We
we're
definitely
getting-
have like a lot more interesting, like smaller topics to discuss, or like more abstract topics than just the election, which is
and
great.
I also think the vaccine is going to be like the new Trump. So let's follow this.
Rolling
And
into town.
I'm going to keep following. I'm going to try to get my friend on. I think I definitely said enough stuff on here where he might not ever talk to me again, which I couldn't be more fine with.
Right.
Because I think, and I don't mean it in a way to disparage him. I mean it in the way that, like, we got to fight back. That kind of leftist disinformation is just as dangerous as right disinformation, you know?
Yeah.
These are cliffs. There's cliffs on both ends, okay?
There's
Because the earth is flat.
science, and then you go off the cliff. Oh, flat earthers, I could do a whole special report on.
Because the earth is flat, let's use that as a metaphor because we all know the earth's flat.
Yeah, it's flat.
And obviously it's flat. And on both ends, you can fall off of either side, the left or the right ends of the earth.
That's actually incorrect, Dan. Antarctica is what keeps us in. It's not actually a continent. It's a 120-mile wall that circles the pancake that is planet Earth.
Is that how people think about that? Is that a real?
Yeah, we're a disk, and we're surrounded by Antarctica. That's why Antarctica is so secretive, and you can't go there. Why no one goes? Like, why can't you go there? Why is it so secret? How come there's like 100 people there? Well, because you can't go there because it's actually just a wall.
Oh my
It
God!
keeps
Wait,
us on the planet from falling off the edge.
Erin.
Yeah.
I, for my whole life, till this point, thought that a flat earther meant someone who thinks the earth is square.
I don't know what to tell you, Dan.
I was like,
That's
yo,
insane.
because I gave no credence at all to the flat earth
You thought
possibility.
it was square? You thought there
So-
was corners?
Well, first off, I've never spoken to a flat earther. It's not something I believe, and they're already irrational. Okay,
a lot
so
of trust issues.
right. So I was thinking like they think it's just like, you know, the map that's like when you see the Earth map and it's
Yeah, I
a
have one in my
rectangle,
dining
not a
room,
square.
yeah.
The rectangle version. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
they must think it's that,
You
and
think
it's just floating
flat
through
Earth
space
is
like
just the
Spider-Man, like Superman, like 2 is that
Right.
or 3? Like there's like what?
Uh-huh. I get it. You
You're
didn't
saying
think
it's a
that
disc.
that Earth was flat. You thought Earth was the map. Like, that's what it was.
Wait, but Erin, then
So
how
no,
do
Earth is a disc.
these flat earthers account for the other parts of the Earth if it's a circle?
It's not the way
It's a
it
disc.
looks like.
So what's on the
like,
bottom of
globe.
Earth for a flat earther?
Don't know. Nothing. Ground.
That's
Rock.
like Earth's butt.
Yeah, and it's just no. It's like like at the bottom of a table, like the lower surface of this desk that
Right.
I'm on. It's just like the
No
bottom of it.
finish. No finish.
Yeah,
Like
and
the top is like a blue, white, almost earthy finish, and the bottom
Yeah.
is just kind of like sheet wood, like
yeah,
right. Like
it just holds the bottom of it in. It's like
Yeah.
fine. It's unfinished.
I never thought about what the flat Earth would look like because it's been such a ridiculous thing.
Yeah, no,
You know?
it is round. It's round, but it doesn't look the way we've been told it
Oh
looks.
man, see, I've been indoctrinated since
You've
I
been
was a
indoctrinated.
youth.
And Dan, if I can just share one more flat
Yeah.
Earth tidbit with you
Yeah.
while we're debunking
Yeah, take us
it
out
here.
on that, Erin. Yeah,
All
take
right.
us out on this.
Actually, gravity doesn't exist.
Yeah,
There's
yes.
no way to
That we
prove
know.
gravity.
Right.
If I drop this thing, it's gonna land. It's not that. It's that Earth is actually moving upwards. The flat disk that is Earth is moving upwards at a rate of 32 miles per second. So of course, if you drop a can onto your desk, it's gonna hit the desk because Earth is moving up.
Wow.
Yeah. So just a little.
Well,
something to
I would
think
say this,
about.
Erin. I would say one last tidbit about one thing that makes me believe that gravity doesn't exist is just how fucking strong I am. Okay.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say
And-
like how like Michael Jordan can
There
get
must
such
be no
thick
gravity if I
air.
can lift. Yeah, because Michael Jordan, he defies gravity. No, if gravity, okay. Anyway, Erin, I think we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
I think we had a great run. Everyone, this podcast, we had a great time
run.
this week. Everybody, make sure to tell somebody about this podcast. Give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. But no, really, tell one person about the pod. If you're like, man, my mom's listening to these kind of yoga morons, then not there's anything wrong with yoga. Yoga is a great gimmick. Some people I really love have a yoga gimmick. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
A gimmick, by the way, is a wrestling term for just like interest, or
Your
you know, that's all.
Yeah.
It's not as it sounds derisive. It's not. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's your But then when you start thinking because you know how to do a headstand, you're a scientist now. No. Just because you ate somebody's lawn. No. Okay, just because you've decided
you have a
you're
crystal
gluten-free.
in your hand.
All right, everybody. Thanks for
right.
listening to RGN. We got to get out of here.
Yeah.
But thanks for coming in. Thank you for listening to this podcast. And hey,
I gotta
everybody.
go to dinner, you guys.
You're going to French
my
Laundry?
party's arriving for French Laundry.
Oh, okay.
So.
Oh, I see Gavin's walking in. This is beautiful.
You can see his hair, right?
Yeah.
It's beautiful and gray.
Everybody,
All right, take
keep
care.
watching
everyone.
wrestling. Oh, no, that's not other podcast. Stay regular.
Stay regular.